Fantastic. All right. It's Thursday night. Usually in the military, there's a lot of cleaning going on, a lot of dusting, a lot of palm olive and Pam and well, not Pam. Pam's for cooking, but you know what I mean.
Absolutely,
I think,
some simple green.
yeah,
I mean
simple
that's a
green.
smell that I will forever associate with the military.
When with cleanliness, boy, I'm telling you, as long as Gunny could smell the simple green, you were okay. And we got Elsa checking in. Elsa, how's it going? I am with Michael Geary, Executive Director and founder of Hellfish Haven. My name is Travis Partington, Marine Corps veteran, host of Oscar Mike Radio, and we are resilient. We are war. And Mikey's got a guest coming in for us tonight. We're going to rap for a little bit. Man, how's it going?
Doing well, doing well. I've been playing with the different features on the Printful shop and you can do like samples and like see what it
Yeah,
looks like. And I feel like this one came out pretty decent.
dude, is that like the hellfish on an American flag on a
It
denim
is.
jacket?
It is indeed. So I gave it a whirl to see what it would look like. I just took the colors out of it because it's embroidered. So I figured, I would go ahead and just remove some color from it, and
It
I think,
looks like savage, man. Like it's an angry fish already. But
and
I
then
mean,
on the front, the wife didn't like this part, but I kind of do. It's the brain that says, "Let's talk about mental health."
oh really?
Yeah, I'm going the wrong way. There we go.
I have no problem with that, man.
Yeah,
And Elsa agrees. She says badass coat. So
I figure I'll keep the red, white, and blue theme going. I've got my little U.S. Army retired. I've got the Delta Dog patch that I'm gonna get sewn on there. Back in the day, I used to sew everything myself. Now I'd rather pay a professional to do it.
so you're one of those good with a thread and needle.
I was, and especially in the army, because you change units, you have to put a new patch on. You get promoted, you have to put a new patch on. So, learn how to do it real quick.
I don't know, man. I always took my stuff to the cleaners and had the tailor do it because you got promoted, you got something. Make no mistake, the staff sergeant was, come here, Marine. Let me look at you.
They do too, and like even to today, like I was watching a video the other day. It was a recruiter, and he was showing off the new boats that like North Dakota or South Dakota had gotten for their engineer units to be able to do the bridge crossings. And so he was out there on the boats rolling around, and I saw him with the pin on rank on his hat. And first thing that came to my mind is, "What do you think you're going to get promoted sometime soon or something? Sew that shit on."
Hey, did you all have the black boots still when you were in, or did you transfer over to the can?
No, I was in black boots.
Okay.
So I started with BDUs, and then I went to the desert, got DCUs, and then came home from the first tour, and we got ACUs, which became that gross digital pattern that matches like a grandma's couch.
So you were like a staff NCO, right? You're Sergeant First Class.
Yep.
Well, even as a Lance Corporal, man, because I got as a Terminal Lance, I always looked at. I don't know about you, but you know, if the boots were squared away, that was a good starting point. Now they don't have that, and I think that just makes it easier.
And there was so many hours spent through our base training, your boot camp, sitting there and taking the cotton ball and swirling in the kiwi, and then sitting there and getting that shine on, and like till you could get those things looking like a mirror, and like,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You
and
could.
now it's like, all right, now I just put these tan boots on, and it's I tie them up and they're done. So it's like I feel like a whole generation has lost the one-on-one time with shining shoes.
Well, like the dress shoes we had, you know, I didn't. They called them Hershey bars, and they're the leather ones, and I'm like, screw that, man, because those were a pain to polish. I mean, absolute pain. but I got the Bates ones that were already done. That was one thing.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't wear them that often. We weren't. I mean, I was never really in a garrison, dress service dress, type place. So I didn't think it was worth, buying something. But the boots, I don't know, man. If the boots, looked all out of shape and out of service, you could bet your rear end the M16 might not be clean as well too. And sure enough, it was always the nasties at the armory who would hold us all up because they just wouldn't give the armorer enough effort on the M16. So
And
it's
it's
just what it is.
always, they're like, oh, if I just wait till the end of the day to turn it in, they'll have to take it. And it's like, no, you're gonna make us all stay here later because of you. Just sitting here with
No,
you.
you don't want to play games like that with the armor staff in CO. They might let you go home, but that's when they make a call to the freaking S1 shop, and you're having to really clean your stuff then.
My favorite armorer was this gentleman by the name of Deinzer, and he literally would take the weapon, put his nose in it, and be like, and he would like have this like chemical dependency on like the smell of CLP, and like
Yes.
he was like, "Good job, that's a clean weapon," put him in there and like lock it up, and it's like, all right.
Well, I mean, it's just part of the experience. It's part of the experience, and it's a big attention to detail thing. And every part of the military, it's the devil's in the details. It really is. So, but you were going to talk about the specialist Matthew Pollini
Yes.
story tonight. Why don't you remind us all what that found? Actually, it's a foundation, right?
Yep. So Mike Petterson, who's been on here previously, I'm gonna try to see if we can get a hold of him, make sure he's got the link and everything okay. But Specialist Pollini passed away uh, when the 772 were overseas in Al Qut in Iraq. And that was 772's second tour during the global war on terror. The first one they did like a mixed bag, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Pakistan, and then the second tour was Iraq. So I had just gone overseas with the 972 Military Police Company out of Reading. When I came home, they asked if I wanted to take a promotion into the 772 and go right back. And I was like, whoa, I'm like, this is like maybe like 90 days or less to be home and then turn right around and go back to Iraq.
Ugh.
So, like, I'd already done 2 tours at this point. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll, nope. I'm like, no. I asked if I, decline this position, am I going to get dropped to the bottom of the list? And they said no, because you just got back from a tour. You have a rest cycle that you're supposed to have. So it's not going to negatively affect you. So what I did is I declined that position, and then a couple months later, I was in the service academy, and I got picked up for promotion to staff sergeant, and that got me in the 747 MP company out of W.A.R. So we did get to see those guys from 772. Once we got overseas, it was kind of weird because like 772 was over there in Iraq, 747 was in Iraq, and then our MP battalion headquarters was in Iraq, but they weren't in charge of us. They were in charge of another like battalion. So like our organic, battalion, command structure was overseas, but they were in Baghdad, playing nice with others.
Gotcha.
And so
Gotcha.
Specialist Pollini, he, unfortunately did not make it back from his tour. So Mike, in honor of Matt and his legacy, and I can only go from the stories that I've heard others share of Matt. I didn't get to personally, share with him in person, but just the great character that this young man was, and the way that he carried himself, and these things that Mike and the Special Pollini Foundation has tried to carry on, to keep his namesake going, and also that way it's not just for no death is in vain, but this really ensures that his passing is able to help others. Like, I know last winter they did this program where they helped a bunch of service members, men and women, that either had like a small child at home or had an elderly parent at home or both, and they were able to go in and take care of their heating bills for them during the winter.
Yeah.
And how much that spiked last year, and that was a big struggle for a lot of folks. And guys are choosing when you're in the Garden Reserve, like you're only getting that that 2 day paycheck from the military, and
Right. Right.
you're struggling the rest of the month like everybody else, paycheck to paycheck. So what the Special Pollini Foundation did is they went ahead and said, hey, let's do something about this. Let's we already have our mission here to help nation's first responders and military and veteran personnel. And so they said, let's make a program that goes and helps folks with their heat. And so what they do is they have a ruck, a 5K. You can ruck it, you can run it, you can walk it. I usually just walk at the trail and make sure nobody falls out on the path. And then there's a big get together afterwards where like all the organizations that sponsor it, all the organizations that are there to have tables and information out afterwards, all kind of hang out afterwards. And
Yeah.
so I just made the flyers for them the other day. Do you have any of those with you?
Oh yeah. 1 second. 1 second. We're gonna do our special little warp thing. Let me hang on 1 second. Hang on, Michael John. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, can't do it like that because we're on the same thing. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can share my screen. Nope. Here we go. Look at this. All right, Mike.
Oh, beautiful. So right there, that's one of the designs I made for the ruck. What we're doing, that's the new Special Matthew Pollini Memorial Fund logo too. The Battlefield Cross. Jose, hey, on the bed, buddy. Go. He's being cheeky. I feel like we should use that word more often. I hear it on Bluey, and I just want to use it all the time now. Jose, on the bed.
We got Doug from FUBAR Studio checking in.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, this is one of the versions I made. So it'll be at the Tavern at Lindsay's, and and drink it. You can sign up ahead of time. I tried to make the link on the bottom. It did not work. So if you search Specialist Pollini Ruck, it'll come up in Google results. We'll be sure to share the link here later too in the comments, so that way people can find it as well. But what they're looking to do is they're trying to get a target around 80 to 100 personnel to do the event in order to best reach out to as many families as they can with this the Heat for Heroes program they're calling it. So they want to be able to help the families again this year just like they did last year, and that's what this particular event raises money for. Like, they also have the motorcycle run that they had in August that raises money for the scholarships, and that goes to kids that are going to college. They write in essays, and then on various topics, and the family goes through that and picks the winner to be able to get a college scholarship in Matt's name.
So we got Jeremy Daniels checking in, Elsa checking in. We have Doug Machado from FUBAR Studio, and Keith Hayes from Sinister One Productions, who co-produces Oscar Mike Radio and FUBAR Studio. Keith, how you doing? And we are resilient. We are war. One thing I got asked, I don't know if you know this answer, Mike, but I'm just curious. I got asked, what's the difference between like a nonprofit and a foundation?
So, like, a nonprofit has certain guidelines they have to follow. So depending on like what type of nonprofit is, you've got some nonprofits that are religious based, some that are based off of you know like ours is for veterans, so it's a 501c3, and that covers organizations that are non-political. So like at no point can my nonprofit say, hey, we want to endorse X candidate and have them at our building and use our brand to promote them. So we don't do that at all. We just basically keep a big separation there for nonprofits. Also, too, being a nonprofit, taxes are a little different. So instead of having to, get slammed with, income tax and, the taxes on everything that's out there, nonprofits are able to apply for the taxes to be taken off of items, like things like, a Microsoft account membership. That's covered for us by, an organization that knows how to properly get in there and use like all the different like quote unquote nonprofit hacks, and like so we're able to get that tech for free because we are a nonprofit. So basically, a nonprofit will always have a number, which will either be the employee identification number, EIN, or their nonprofit number, and it's usually like ours, I think is like 86 dash something.
Your EIN number.
That's yeah. So that's one thing that like you always want to make sure that you check out when you see a website. Make sure that they have that number, because that'll tell you that that they are legit. And like a foundation can be a nonprofit, but it doesn't have to be. A foundation could just be an organization that meets once a year and goes ahead and takes care of all the the plant life at like a high school. So you could have a foundation that does that.
Nice, nice, nice. So we've got Rat KO saying nonprofit also means you cannot buy and sell things for a profit.
Yes, that's true.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
Doug is working on his podcast, and Jeremy Daniel says follow the paperwork, and yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm asking. I was going to bounce this idea off you, Mike. I'm putting together a how-to for how to read an I-90 a 990 form. Like the 990N, I think, is the form for if you use a nonprofit take in less than 50,000 a year,
Yep,
and then a conventional IRS 990 is for those orgs that raise over 50,000 a year. And I've been looking at them, and they tell a story if you know how to read the numbers of how much money's coming in, who's getting paid, how much did it cost to put on certain things and do certain things, right? So I was curious if you think it'd be valuable for people to know how to do that, how to look up a nonprofit on the state's
absolutely. Like
state.
that definitely, if we could throw together one of these nights and do like a little how to,
Yeah,
like, because that there are things that you can go on like charity guide, things like that. But even like, so what I think really sucks in the nonprofit world is there's a lot of organizations that exist just to help other nonprofits toot their own horns. And like there's so many organizations that are out there, and they like have these like badges on their websites, and like that they're certified disabled veteran, or they're this, unless that comes from the office, the SBA, that really doesn't mean much. They're basically paying for that little logo to be on their website, and another organization is making money so people can show that they're run by a disabled veteran, or they're run by a minority, or things like that. And it's like it's really tough to see all that stuff that that happens among the all these people are trying to raise money for supposedly the same thing, but a lot of times I forget who said it last week, that there's 46,000 veteran nonprofits across the U.S.
yeah.
And it's like of that maybe 10% actually have a mission that's focused what they're doing, and are accomplishing it. And because the rest of them are raising money, but they're also hurting, the other nonprofits because they're not doing something specific with their funds. So now that person that donates to them doesn't see that organization do much with it. So instead of becoming like a recurring donor, now they're just they're turned off from it for either a while or permanently, and now that's money that another organization loses. And a follower and a volunteer that could have been helping out the organization is gone, because of that.
Well, one of the reasons I bring this up is, I had somebody, civilian, make some very astute observations. It's like, you know what? There's all these nonprofits in the greater Boston area. You would think that by this time, you know, we'd have some of these problems tackled. And then, he got really upset because he donated to one nonprofit. And what he found out they did is they sold all his information. I said, well, they may or may not have. I said, you can, if you give a certain amount of money, they have to record all that. There are ways you can find that information out. And it is, public, right? But he
Hmm.
felt like his information was sold to a business list. And before you know it, he had tons of emails asking him for money. And it's I see where he's coming from. I see where he's coming from because, there's tons of, golf events, charity rides, this, that, whatever for veterans. And some people are starting to ask, well, we're giving all this money. What's actually happening with it? And, I said, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with every nonprofit. I don't. I said, you are certainly, as a taxpayer, empowered to contact the attorney general's office if you feel a nonprofit's
Hmm.
not being true. But I said the other thing too is, for the attorney general to get interested, there has to be a fish worth catching, and there has to be more than just one complaint, because the last thing you want to do as an attorney general is go after a veteran nonprofit and found out that maybe there were some problems, maybe there wasn't any donations for the calendar year and they just got in a bind, and you drag this person through the ringer for nothing. But it does make you curious. With 46,000, that's almost 1,000 per state, Mike. That's a lot.
That's a metric shit ton.
I'm gonna get curious and figure out how much money comes into these nonprofits, and we're not even talking about like the VFW and American Legion, who are like the biggest veteran nonprofits out there. We're just talking about, you know normal, like, hey, I do this for veterans nonprofit.
Yeah.
And so, it's just, very interesting how this works.
Yeah, and like for me, my first exposure to like the nonprofit veteran world was through Homes for Our Troops, and Homes for Our Troops is out of Taunton. And when I started working for them, it was a grift. They were literally taking $80,000 from each severely wounded service member, and they would make them sign over. The VA would give them a special, grant that would allow them to modify their home to their disability, and that would be an $80,000 once in a lifetime grant. And so they would make them sign that grant over to Homes for Our Troops, and then Homes for Our Troops would go out and they would get the materials donated from Home Depot. That would be a tax write-off. They'd get the contractor to, write off the labor. They would pick a place where property was cheap and they would build the home there. And so all of this together wasn't costing them more than, $15,000, $20,000, and then they're taking in 80. And it was like,
Wow.
I was like, this is bullshit. And like, luckily, they're under new management now, and they've stopped that practice. And like, but at that point, they already had 100 veterans committed to having homes built from Homes for Our Troops. So that's 100 times 80,000. So it's like, it blows my mind how quickly these numbers blow up, and things like that happen. And it's like how could you do that to somebody that that's given their legs for this country, that's given become a dual or multiple amputee, and it's like you're taking this grant from them, and if something else happens to them later on in life, they lose another limb, then if something happens and now they have to adapt it again. Now they don't have that grant because Home Star Troops took it from them. So
So Jeremy says we're very easy prey. Brian Gibson says this never happens at Project Die Hard. Brian is out of the Illinois, Kentucky area, Mike. I tell you what, Mike, I mean, and that's kind of why I want people to be able to,
yes, thank you for
understand how
doing the math for us there. $8 million.
$8 million a year raised by veterans nonprofits, which is a lot and is not, but still, we ought to be putting a dent in some of these needs. You know what I'm saying? And I think it hurts us when people see this stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
guess
the tough part too is, a lot of people also associate that if you're a veteran nonprofit, the VA is helping you somehow, which is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth. I mean, they literally stopped me from being, on, Vogue Rehab because I decided to choose nonprofit as the career I wanted to go. Like, I wanted to create the Haven, and they said, "Oh, there's this little subsection paragraph in there that says, we can support you if you want to have your own company, you want to do self-employment track, but if you do nonprofit, we can't support you. See you later."
wow.
Yep.
Well, Brian's saying any person, anytime can see our finances, and some people want that level of transparency. They really do. But I think what we'll do offline, man, is we'll pull a couple 990s, random ones, and see what we can see. Because and the thing is too, it's actually easier if you're small. If you take in less than $50,000, it's just a simple postcard to the IRS that you have to report you raised this much, and it's pretty much a one-page document you send to the IRS, and you're done. Now, if you make over $50,000, that's surprisingly where the scrutiny really comes in. Like you've got a line item, how much you took in, what you spent on, community engagement, what you spent on administration, what went to the veteran or cause you're going to, training, insurance. But for under 50K, you don't have to. And to your point, some people will get a couple of nonprofits going in town, and they'll all funnel money through each other, and it works because
Mhm.
again, very few people are proactive about going after veterans nonprofits. It's a if it blows up in your face, it's a bad look. So they don't want to do it.
And then I know too they had an issue with, like, how like the Legions, DAVs, VFWs will often do the fundraisers at the grocery stores,
Yep.
and they'll usually have a poppy drive or whatever. They had an issue a few years ago where an organization had filed. It was an organization, but it wasn't like helping veterans. It was like they called themselves like veterans of wars or something like that, and like they made it similar enough that it would seem like it was a thing that was connected to vets, and then this person was raising the money and then just taking the money and pocketing it.
Yeah, but and the thing is, my Marine Corps League did that. Do you know that in like 3 weekends a year, you could raise almost 5 to 6 grand if you
Mm-hmm.
had if you were in like a one of the, Stoughton, Easton, Brockton, and you got around one of the WalMarts or grocery stores because it's all cash.
We would do Bass Pro Shop and do pretty well.
Right? I mean, not a couple hundred, like thousands of dollars. So we've
Mm-hmm.
got Mark Peterson with Patriot Pride, the Patriot Pride Project out of Minnesota. Mark, how you doing, my man? They just got back from Hero Stock, and that's something that we might have to get Mark on a war or somebody from Hero Stock because that looked really cool. And so what Hero Stock is kind of like Woodstock for veterans and military. They had all kinds of stuff out there, like bands and stuff and everything else like that. So Mark would be very interested hearing about that. And I don't know, Mike. I mean, I'm feeling road trip.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling road trips somehow. If we could make that work, it'd be pretty cool.
Are we supposed to be going on their show at some point too?
Well, I think so. I think they're trying to get with us and wrangle us. We're trying to wrangle them. I mean, we're crossing like in the night, Mike, but we're trying to make it work. And I know Mark is being patient with us, and likewise. So, it's cool. He says Jason Steiner. Yeah, Jason Steiner is a Marine Corps veteran, and I'm glad to hear you did a great job, Mark. Hoping you can come on, you and Andrew come on and talk to us about it. So, just all kinds of good stuff, and um, he says we are in the books.
Excellent.
Oh, when are we? So Mark, tell everybody right now, when are we W.A.R coming on? We P3, the People's Patriot Project. Let's see if he can do this in real time, folks. Let's see if Mark is that talented. I think he is. He's Army National Guard too, and loves a good barbecue. That's how we bonded, Mike. This man is a plethora of knowledge when it comes to the BBQ. So we'll see if he gets
I
back to
thoroughly enjoyed being able to go to different parts of the country and like have like the different, your dry rubs, you're very tangy, so
I'm a
many different flavors.
I'm a big Carolina like the honey, like the way they do the mustard rubs and stuff for their barbecue. And now I live in Indiana, but I love the Carolina stuff too. So Jeremy Daniels says the sixth Tuesday of February. There's no sixth Tuesday of February. That's a good one, Jeremy. The sixth Tuesday of February. I'll remember that one. And Doug says he's trying to get General Bulldog. I hopefully I said that right. And there's
Jose.
Jose making an appearance.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, we've got an in remembrance patch of Bray Wyatt, aka the Fiend, wrestler who passed away. Jose does like his wrestling shows.
So Mark Petterson says October 29th. October 29th is the booking for us, Mike. So
Mark, can we wear costumes because it's kind of close to Halloween?
What costume would you wear, Mike?
Well, I think this year we're looking at possibly doing like Sully, Mike Wazowski, and Boo for me, the wife, and the baby. So I may come in as James Sullivan from Monsters Inc.
Nice. So yeah, the 29th is a Sunday with the People's Patriot Project. They're out of the Minnesota area. Mark says costumes are good. He's rolling laughing and looking forward to having you guys on Oscar Mike Radio on the 13th. Lots of updates there. We just got a lot going on. Jeremy says, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt 6 Wyndham Fireflies.
Yep. So Bray Wyatt, when he came out, like the lights would go out and the folks would hold up their phones and he would call it his Fireflies. And so,
well, Jeremy knew what you were talking about more than I did. So very cool. I'm going to address as my favorite podcaster, Travis Parrington. Mark, you're funny. Well, first of all, you have to shave all your hair off. You have to look like this, Mark. Are you willing to shave your locks off and your beard off for this smooth look? Look at that. You can almost see yourself in the shine right there.
Click link. I'm sorry, I'm just telling Mike to click the link. He's coming on now. He had a soccer commitment.
Okay.
Back up, Jose. I need some space, buddy.
All right.
Mike, there he is. Mike, welcome.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Doing well. We told me you had a little, soccer commitment too. So we gave a quick overrun of what Specialist Pollini Foundation is. If you want to, dive into a little deeper about like who Matt was, because I didn't personally serve with Matt, so I don't have any, proper stories to share or how to explain, who Matt was.
So the best way to describe Matt is so everyone knows, right? All veterans know everything, tactics and being tactical. Well, Matt was not that guy that was tactical. Now, when he was behind the gun, he was all business for sure. But Matt was the key element in a squad that knew how to make the right inappropriate statement at the right time to ease stress in the most stressful situations. Which anybody knows anything, tactically and militarily, that's a very important element to have, right? It's obviously high stress situations, and Matt was there to always knew when to alleviate that stress and when to make the perfectly timed inappropriate joke at the exact correct time. So Matt was he was a very young soldier. He was just he was somebody that got along with everybody, and he could spout out every specific about the 50 cal, the Mach 19, or the 240 Bravo. I mean, he was excellent in that manner. But he was just really a lovable kid that just wanted to help people.
We got Eric Mello checking in saying, what's good, everyone? Eric with the contagion effect, right? Eric out of Cali. You're nationwide, Mike. So you
wow.
jumped in. Yeah. We got people from Cali, Minnesota, Middle America. It's a good time tonight. So I'm just curious. We were talking about this earlier, about this between a nonprofit and a foundation. Why did you guys go with a foundation for this instead of a straight nonprofit? I'm just curious if you know.
Well, what we did was when we came back from Iraq in the end of 2009, we really just wanted to have one event to raise enough money to do a memorial granite bench in Matthew's name, and we did. We bought two of them. One is at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, at the MP school, and the other one is at the Taunton Armory 772 Military Police Company in Taunton, Mass. And but it was such great turnout and such great support that we decided to keep it going. So the nonprofit was created, Specialist Matthew Pollini Memorial Fund was created and stayed under the Greater Worcester Community Foundation, which is a big umbrella of smaller nonprofits. That way it's easier because that way they deal with all the taxes. But as time went on and we got bigger and bigger, we wanted to kind of branch out. And so we became our own official 501c3. And which is what we are today. And so which gives us more flexibility to spend donations how we see fit and when we see fit with no red tape. And so that's what we do. We do immediate relief to veterans and first responders in severe need due to occupational hazards right then and there. With once I verify the need is legit, then we're able to give a donation. But we don't just give donations, which we try to keep the donations locally. We also give donations, but also follow up and try to make it so that we can set you up for success so you're not coming back in a month or two, right? Because I can give you money right now, but what's that going to do if it's not going to help you in the long run? So that's what we try to do. And if that means finding you a job, a career, or just something in the long run that's going to set you up, that's what we specialize in. And if we can't do it, then we reach out to other nonprofits such as yourselves, such Hellfish Haven, Hidden Battles, New Englanders helping out veterans, you name it. But so if we can't do it, we'll find somebody that can do it. But again, the purpose is help you out now, yes, but it also set you up for the long run.
Awesome, awesome.
And Mike, you also have this mindfulness thing going on too. Can you explain that a little bit?
So I just started an LLC to help veterans and first responders again with mindfulness because I became a mindfulness coach. For one, I was the biggest naysayer in mindfulness because it just wasn't for me until I had the perfect storm with my PTSD and just the worst day ever, where I was forced to go get help at the vet center and thank God for the vet center. And they introduced me to mindfulness. Again, I was the biggest naysayer, but I was forced to go through the treatment, cognitive processing therapy, and that's where they introduced me to mindfulness, and it was such a game changer. And it's just something that I swear by now. So again, being the biggest naysayer and now being a coach, that should tell you how much I believe in it. And so now what I did is create an LLC, which is called New England Mindfulness and Performance. And so I offer a 1-day course, 2-day course, or a 3-day course. And the whole idea of that is to increase your performance, increase how you handle stress and how you deal with traumatic situations, just in a more healthier environment, which is, it's not just breathing techniques or body scans. It's having you actually look internally in how you realize and how you deal with stressful situations and how you compartmentalize them and then work through it to make you tactically react much quicker. So again, SWAT teams, Navy SEALs, Rangers, Green Berets use this technique but it's also everyday people that can use it. So it makes you more resilient, and by you recognizing what's happening internally, physiologically, and allowing you to overcome that a lot quicker because you have that self-awareness. Does that make any sense?
Oh, it makes perfect
Absolutely.
sense.
Yeah. So it's, again, I swear by it. It's done wonders for my PTSD. It's done wonders for other aspects of my life. So I just went all in and just became a coach, and so now I'm bringing that out to as many people as I can.
Yeah. And the VA does have, a mindfulness app too that you can download, on your iOS or your Android. And, the mindfulness app is great. You don't have to be a vet to use it. It's got great techniques to use, if you're in the service or out of the service, just to calm you down, to ground you, to help you out, in various situations, help you sleep better. Mindfulness is really part of the whole health approach. Instead of just, focusing on one thing, you can take it all in.
Well, I think for so long, like me, and I can't imagine I'm the only one, snapping at the kids. They're not tying their shoes fast enough. I'm flipping out, right? We're at the mall. Things are too crazy and too busy, and I'm just losing it. My anxiety's through the roof. My heart's racing through the roof, and I don't know what's happening. But so I just get angry, right? And I'm sure I'm not the only one that experienced this. And so correct me if you guys have. And so you get frustrated because you don't know what's happening. And the anxiety just becomes too much. So what do? You lash out, right? You get irritable, and you get maybe violent sometimes, verbally or physically. And so when you take that step back, mindfulness allows you to recognize what's happening, right? I feel my heart racing, right? So instead of waiting for me to explode, now when I recognize these signs, it allows me to take a step back, think, and now I can react a lot in a healthier manner, or just remove myself from that situation because I feel it coming before it actually gets here. And I think that's the best way to explain it. And you could probably see how useful that is for us and in our professional fields, right? And no matter what profession you are, but also with your families, right? Instead of just lashing out, I feel it coming. You know what? I need to remove myself for a couple minutes. Give me some time. And now I can respond in a healthier manner to my kids, my wife, my family.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I do that with going to the bathroom, splash a little water on my face, just take a second to, kind of let myself reset.
That's excellent. And that's a great technique. But I guarantee you that you probably didn't know that right off the bat to do that, right? I assume, Mike, that with similar experiences that you probably were at a point after coming back where you had the same thing, heart racing, getting frustrated, or annoyed over the smallest little things, and then you would explode. At least that's what I would do. And I think that's what a lot of veterans do, because that's what they tell me. And now, though, after going through some training and some mindfulness training and some cognitive processor therapy with the Vet Center, now we're able to kind of see that happening before it happens, which, again, families and coworkers greatly appreciate that, because it allows you to not have that episode, which we don't want to have, because for one, we don't want to be that jerk. For two, we don't want to put our careers in jeopardy. And for three, why lash out on our family members if we don't have to?
Yeah. And now this, the Ruck, it's what, the 8th year coming?
This is the 8th annual Specialist Pollini 5K Rucker Run. And with this year, so we always raise money for our mission statement, right? To assist victims of natural and man-made disasters, as well as soldiers and first responders in severe need due to occupational hazards. We're not the March of Dimes, so anything that we do raise, we always try to keep locally so that we can ensure that our donors are making the biggest impact locally in their own communities, in our communities here. And so that's what we try to do. However, this year, though, last year we had our first season called Operation Heat Homes. And we were able, thank God for our sponsors, we were able to raise enough money to pay the heating assistance for 18 National Guard families of no to low income.
Wow.
And we received so many applications that, unfortunately, like I said, we're not the March of Dimes or Tunnels to Towers. We had to turn a lot of people down. So we had to make sure that we gave our money to the most needy. And the way we narrowed it down is, again, no income or very low income, very young children at home, or very elderly parents at home, or a combination of both. And unfortunately, there was a lot with a combination of both. And every application that we got, we did verify through first sergeants and family readiness group. So we made sure that all applications were legit, and our money went to people that truly needed it. And so last year, like I said, we did 18 National Guard families So thanks to the donors of the Pollini Fund, 18 National Guard families were able to heat their house, for the winter. And that's a great feeling for me, but it's also just great for me to know that Matthew's name and reputation lived on. Because like I said, Matthew, he just wanted to help people. A lot of people join the Army National Guard because they want to go, fight Al Qaeda. Matthew would be the first to tell you that he didn't want to fight. He joined the Army National Guard to become military police because of Hurricane Katrina. He wanted to go help people. And so that's why the mission statement is what it is. So this year we're looking to do even more than 18 families. Hopefully we can get to 20 or 30 families. But again, so that's all the money that we raised through the 5K on October 1st at Drake, Massachusetts, from Lindsay's, is going to go towards Operation Heat Home Season 2. And again, hopefully we can raise enough money through our sponsors and our participants where we can heat the homes of more than 18 National Guard families that are in very dire needs. Everyone thinks, oh, National Guard, they have a career. Oh, come on. That's 1 week in a month, and that's 2 weeks a year, so they say, right? We all know that it's a little bit more than that, but still, that is not a steady paycheck to pay your rent, to pay your bills, to pay the car payment, and to put food on the table, and to pay your heating.
Right.
And before we started Operation Heat Home, so many families, when I reached out to them, they told me, and I reached out to them in maybe December, and they're telling me that they haven't had heat since October, just because that's what they choose to go without in order to make ends meet. I mean, that right there pulled on my heartstrings. So I made sure I paid these bills as fast as I possibly can.
I mean, that's really, impactful that you're meeting the veteran where they are, or the active, in this case, active duty or National Guard member where they are, and they don't have to go through a mountain of paperwork and wait to get any assistance or feel like they're less than, a human being.
Yeah. Yeah. And many do. And I truly appreciate that you guys are allowing me to get the word out to people. And none of it can be done though if people aren't supporting us. So we're fortunate enough to have such a great group of sponsors and supporters. But again, it's never enough. But these are tough times, I think, from what I hear, for all nonprofits, specifically around this time of year. So we're happy with whatever we can get and whoever we can help. But you're right. It's the key aspect of us is no red tape, immediate donation, and I'll check back with you in a few weeks or a month, and let's see how we can set you up for success in the long run. And I think that's where we shine. And if we can't, we have a network, Mike, this, of a lot of nonprofits around us that could find a resource to set you up for success for the long run. Because that's what it's about, right? It's not just about cutting you a check. It's about helping you to be successful in life, not just today.
Awesome. Well, we got Oscar Mike Radio coming up here in like 8 minutes. So, Mike, do you have any closing thoughts? Well, Mike G, and then we'll give it to Mike P to shut us down.
No, just closing thought. Just let's see if we can get this Rucker run. Between 80 to 100 folks. The last one that I was out at, you definitely had that, if not more. That was a great one. So definitely, if you guys can get out there and come to this event, please do.
Awesome, Mike. I want to say thank you for coming on tonight, Mike Petterson, and I want to thank everybody in the chat who's dropping their links to their outreach programs and what they do nationwide. It's really encouraging to see that we're all coming together and supporting each other. So let's keep it up. I'm going to do one more thing. I just want to drop the website in the chat. There's a website to the fund that you can go and check out. I think I've put the event in there. I'm going to do that one more time. But Mike, I just want to say thank you, and we're going to do everything we can to help you make this event a success.
Yeah, I appreciate this a lot, guys. It means a lot having me on. I appreciate this.
And then tomorrow is Suicide Stand Down in Boston. So if for the homeless, if you guys want to go out to downtown, they'll have like a thing set up. Colonel Henke basically has the whole thing set up for the day. They'll be out there 4 hours, I think, total.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the New England Center and Home for Veterans puts that on, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, Mark, it's called experience, and Mike and I have a lot of it. We work well together, so you guys just have a good time, and it's all good. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So we're going to let you all go so I can get ready for my next show. But Mike, thank you again for letting us go, and hope to be able to get out there and support your event in person. So I'm excited to be able to do that this year. We're going to try my best.
Guys, be safe. Thank you for your service. I appreciate it.
All right. Hey, I am with Mike Petterson from the Specialist Pollini Foundation. I'm with also my co-host and founder, Michael Geary of Hellfish Haven, which is just awesome to say. I like saying Hellfish Haven. I'm Travis, host of Awesome Mike Radio, Marine Corps veteran, and we are resilient. We are WAR, and we will see you next week. Stand by and mission in flight.